Intelligence doesn't always look the way you'd expect. It doesn't always show up as straight A's or quick answers or the person in the room who talks the most confidently. Sometimes it shows up as the person who talks to themselves, who stays up too late thinking, who can't watch a film without pausing to ask questions, who gets lost in a single idea for 3 hours and forgets to eat. The habits that society labels as weird, excessive, or just a little odd, psychology has a very different take on them. Here are 13 habits that seem strange on the surface, but are quietly linked to a highly intelligent mind. 1. You talk to yourself constantly, not occasionally, regularly, narrating your thoughts, working through problems out loud, having full conversations with nobody in the room. This isn't a quirk. Research shows that self-directed speech activates multiple brain regions simultaneously, the ones responsible for planning, attention, and working memory. Highly intelligent people tend to think faster than they can process internally, and talking out loud is how they organize the speed of their own mind. It's not odd, it's efficient. 2. You stay up later than you should. Night after night, you tell yourself you'll sleep early. Night after night, something pulls you in. An idea, a book, a problem you can't put down, a thought that leads to another thought that leads to another. Research published in the journal Psychology and Individual Differences found a significant correlation between higher intelligence and a preference for staying up late. Night owls, the study found, tend to have higher cognitive ability than early risers. 3. You find it impossible to leave a question unanswered. Someone mentions something you don't know and you can't let it go. Psychologists call this need for cognition, the intrinsic drive to understand for the pure satisfaction of understanding. Most people are comfortable with surface knowledge. You never quite are. 4. You're messy in specific, deliberate ways. You know exactly where everything is. The pile on your desk looks like a disaster to everyone else and like a filing system to you. Research from the University of Minnesota found that messier environments produced higher levels of creative thinking and more innovative solutions. 5. You overthink everything, every decision, every possible outcome. You've already run through 17 scenarios before most people have considered one. This isn't anxiety, it's complex predictive modeling. Highly intelligent people think in systems, consider second and third order consequences, and see ripple effects most people never notice. The overthinking is the cost of thinking at the depth you do. 6. You get deeply, almost embarrassingly obsessed with things. Not interested, obsessed. For weeks, sometimes months, one topic consumes you completely. Psychology links this to what researcher Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called the autotelic personality, a mind that generates its own rewards through deep engagement. That intensity isn't a problem. It's intellectual passion in its purest form. 7. You struggle to do things without understanding why. Just do it the way it's always been done, someone says. But you can't, not without understanding the logic behind it first. This systemic thinking is strongly linked to high intelligence. Intelligent minds don't just want to complete tasks. They want to understand the architecture of things. This is why highly intelligent people often make the best innovators. 8. You find most small talk genuinely painful, not uncomfortable, painful. You can do it. You've learned to. But something in you quietly checks out the moment a conversation refuses to go deeper. 9. You're highly sensitive to your environment. The hum of a light nobody else notices, the temperature being slightly off, background noise that makes concentration impossible while everyone else seems unaffected. Research on giftedness consistently identifies heightened sensory sensitivity as a common trait. 10. You use humor to process difficult things. Dark humor, ironic humor, the kind of joke that makes some people laugh and others uncomfortable. Research from the University of Vienna found that people who produce and appreciate complex humor score significantly higher on verbal and abstract intelligence. Making unexpected connections between contradictory ideas isn't just funny, it's cognitively sophisticated. 11. You forget basic things while remembering obscure ones. You forget if you locked the door, but can recall with perfect clarity something you read once 3 years ago. This pattern is classic in highly intelligent people. The brain prioritizes what it finds interesting. 12. You need a lot of time alone to think, and if you don't get it, something in you becomes restless and not quite right. Highly intelligent people have an enormous amount of internal processing happening at any given moment. That processing requires quiet, uninterrupted space. The need for solitude isn't antisocial, it's the natural requirement of a mind that never really stops working. 13. You question things most people simply accept. Why is this the rule? Who decided that? What if the assumption everyone is working from is wrong? Research on critical thinking shows a strong correlation between the willingness to challenge established ideas and overall cognitive ability. You're not being difficult, you're being exact, and the world needs more people who refuse to stop asking questions everyone else decided were already answered. 13 habits, each one probably described as a flaw at some point in your life. Too much, too intense, too strange, too deep. The weird habits aren't the problem. They never were. They're just what high intelligence looks like when it's being honest. If at least 5 of these described you, drop a comment. I want to know which one hit closest to home. See you in the next one.